Welcome to the Human Nature Channel. I'm your host, Alex Mtamsula, also known as Daddy Baby on Twitter. And what am I doing here? Besides making my hands look like they were drawn by a comic book artist. Well, it's Tuesday night once again here in my dad's bountiful farm garage. It has to be bountiful because I keep finding stuff in here I can use in another episode of, well, I think I have everything I need. I got a watering can, but it's not for the plants. I'm standing next to a wood-burning boiler. I don't want the thing to start glowing bright red on me. I can give you a little behind the scenes at the farm garage here. Let's see. Yeah, that ought to work. Yeah, here we got a pipe. That's where you put in the water. And I got a funnel. You got this action going. I'm practically a maintenance man. Well, if I knew what it was, I'd probably need it. Yes, I found this and I did get inspired. Let's see, it's an old extension cord. Let me put some illumination on it. Yeah, an old extension cord. And let's see if we can light it up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have the holes for the grounding peg. And I'm looking at this thing, and there's no writing on it. There's no date, no company name, but I did find one little thing. And let's see if I can light this up. There we go. UL, Underwriters Laboratories. Wow. Oh wait, there's I just saw this. What is that? There's something on the prongs. They're probably just numbers. I just noticed that. I love old stuff like this. Well, we got cotter pins. We got another cotter pin. This one picked up a hitchhiker. Hey, if you want to see some serious nipple rings, just come up to farm country. Oh, anything for a laugh. I'm at the end of my rope. Serious loose end, but that's okay because I'm going to use this to transition into the next part of the video, which is about loose ends left over from other videos. And one I wanted to get out of the way was in a couple of earlier videos I talked about being on other video hosting platforms, and one of them happens to be Odyssey, which I called Library, and the way it is on their website, it's Odyssey powered by Library, so that's the complete title. There's a link to it down in my notes. And ever since I started doing videos again, I've been putting them on other places beside YouTube, and Odyssey is one of the places, right? And even my video, The Dazzling Septic Tank, is on Odyssey. So I'm looking where it got put in with other videos, and because I put septic tank in the title, it's in with other septic tank videos. Like Mr. Septic Tank, 1-800-SEP, TICTNK, for all your septic tank needs. Your average septic tank can hold it in with the best of them, but like anything else, sooner or later it's gotta come out. And that's what you want to call me, Mr. Septic Tank. Free estimate, that's 1-800-SEP TICTNK. Well, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. I did put septic tank in the title, which is why I'm kind of in a big hurry to start talking about S.I. Hayakawa and language and thought and action. Samuel Ichie Hayakawa, July 18th, 1906, February 27th, 1992, was a Canadian-born American academic and politician of Japanese ancestry. A professor of English, he served as president of San Francisco State University and then as U.S. Senator from California from 1977 to 1983. Professionally, Hayakawa was a linguist, psychologist, semanticist, teacher, and writer. He served as an instructor at the University of Wisconsin from 1936 to 1939 and at the Armour Institute of Technology, Illinois Institute of Technology as of 1940 from 1939 to 1948. His first book on semantics, Language in Thought and Action, expanded its forerunner and Book of the Month Club selection, Language in Action, written from 1938 to 1941. With 5 editions from 1949 to 1991, Language in Thought and Action helped to popularize Alfred Korzybicki's general semantics and semantics in general, while semantics or theory of meaning was overwhelmed by mysticism, propagandism, and even scientism. In the preface, Hayakawa cautioned, "The original version of this book, Language in Action, published in 1941, was in many respects a response to the dangers of propaganda, especially as exemplified in Adolf Hitler's success in persuading millions to share his maniacal and destructive views. It was the writer's conviction then, as it remains now, that everyone needs to have a habitually critical attitude towards language, his own as well as that of others, both for the sake of his personal well-being and for his adequate functioning as a citizen. Hitler is gone, but if the majority of our fellow citizens are more susceptible to the slogans of fear and race hatred than to those of peaceful accommodation and mutual respect among human beings, our political liberties remain at the mercy of any eloquent and unscrupulous demagogue." There's one more loose end concerning Language and Thought and Action and S.I. Hayakawa. How should I put this? In my last video on old S.I., I left a distinct impression that I had read this book for the first time back in December. And at the time, I actually believed that. Well, it turns out that might not exactly be the case. In fact, in December when I was reading this, I'm in the last chapter and I'm reading along and I could have sworn I read that paragraph before. And it was at that moment I started wondering, had I read this book before? Was it a case of deja vu? No, it was more of a case of deja I'm an idiot, because it turns out, yes, I had read this book before and I'd completely forgotten I had. And I'm like, wow. That never happened to me before. I mean, by now you should know, I read a lot. I read all sorts of different things. Most books I can remember where I was when I read them, when I read them. Complete blank on this, right? And guess how I busted myself? Do you remember that video I did called In a Trunk of a T-Bird? I think it's number 31, where I actually do Jimmy Hoffa. I had that copy of I Heard You Paint Houses by Charles Brandt, about the relationship between Jimmy Hoffa and that mobster Frank Sheeran. Well, what ended up happening was I thought, that's almost 15 minutes of yak. I could cut that out of the video and load that up on BitChute, which I did. So that's why I went to that video. But it turns out, if you go further into it, in the next 15 minutes, there's like 7 minutes on Las Vegas shooting yak. And then at the end, what I do is I put on this engineer's cap and I start talking about language and thought and action, and I'm waving the book around, and it's like I'm talking about two-valued logic, which is a central idea to what Hayakawa was talking about. I'm like going, I obviously I read it, but the problem is I don't even remember doing that video. Wow. Whoa. Okay. Well, there's a subject for the next video. How did this happen? Have a good one.